As the name would suggest, Borneo Short-Tail Pythons come from Borneo. Also, as the name would suggest, they're a short-tail python, which means they're related to blood pythons and, of course, the Sumatran short-tail python. But they're not all blood pythons. They are related, but they're not the same thing. Blood pythons are red in coloration. Borneos tend to be brown and yellow and gray. And then, of course, your Sumatran short-tails, as that nickname would suggest, they're more black in coloration. They're a very, very dark-colored snake. Besides color, one of the big things is size. Starting from smallest with being your Sumatran short-tail python, which is average going to get about 3, maybe 3.5 feet, sometimes really big animals hitting 4 foot. Your Borneo short-tails are definitely more middle of the road sized, where females are getting about 4.5, maybe even 5 feet long, but that's pretty much going to be the max for them. Males are even going to be a little bit smaller, more like 3.5 feet long max. And then, of course, on the larger side, you have your blood pythons, where females can actually reach up in excess of 6 feet long, and they are all very heavy-bodied snakes. Another interesting fact of the Borneo short-tail python is genetically, how they look can be incredibly variable. You can have striped animals, you can have animals with speckly or granite sides, you can have animals that have almost no pattern, animals that have a significant amount of pattern, and everything in between. These kind of interesting things are something that keepers like me really enjoy because it keeps us on our toes. Perfect example, I bred a super stripe to a super stripe this year, and ideally, in Mendelian terminology, I would think that every baby would be super striped. That wasn't the case. I got definitely some super striped animals because that's the more prominent gene, but I got some other less striped animals. And I got some animals that really didn't have too much of a semblance of a stripe, but just have a really bizarre look. I'm so stoked about the Borneo short-tail pythons we have here. I am, of course, biased to stripes, so I've got a lot of stripe-related animals here, but we're gonna take a look at what some of these actually do look like. Okay guys, so this is actually one of my first Borneo short-tail pythons. She's going on 10 years old, and this is a super striped female that was produced by Matt Minatola over at Philly Herpetoculture. Matt is arguably one of the best Borneo short-tail python breeders in the country, if not the world. His animals are second to none. I was so stoked about getting into this project, and it was just something totally different and unique. This girl's got a screaming orange head, and it's just a wonderfully placid snake, and I absolutely love her to death. Something to take into consideration with these larger pythons that are not necessarily super long, but heavy bodied, is they need to feel supported when you're holding them. We often talk about them flailing and losing their mind and freaking out, and a lot of that is simply because they don't feel supported. Feeling supported is literally the difference between life or death for them. If you think about it, these snakes are 100% terrestrial, oftentimes burying themselves under leaf litter, maybe next to a rotted log, and they're waiting for their prey item to come to them. All of a sudden, they're being lifted up, their body's moving in these weird positions, and they don't know what the heck is going on, and they might have even feel like they're falling. I don't know about you, I don't like feeling like I'm falling. These guys certainly don't either, and of course, they can't speak to tell us that. So what's gonna happen? They're gonna flail their body around, they might try to bite or fling some poo at us, and it's just because they don't feel secure, they don't feel safe. So a lot of times we take that as aggression. It's really just the snake screaming, "Help! I don't know what's going on, and I'm very uncomfortable." This girl right here is my biggest Borneo short-tail python. This is actually a VPI Ultra Stripe. This animal is absolutely spectacular. I got this animal from the late Nick Bottini, and I couldn't have been happier when I got her. Just a screaming looking animal with so much color. Not a whole lot of insane contrast, but some beautiful pinks up by her head and neck, and then we get all these insane tans and browns and oranges. She's just an absolutely spectacular snake. She used to have a pretty bad attitude when I first got her. She's since calmed down quite a bit, but she is a massive snake. I can't even wrap my hand around her. That's how big she is, and she's probably about 4, maybe 4.5 feet long. This girl is a monster Borneo for sure, but what a spectacular looking snake. Okay guys, so this girl's in shed right now, so I don't want to pick her up and mess with her too much. but this is probably one of my favorite Borneo Short-Tails. Another one that was produced by Matt Minatola. This is actually a cross between an ocelot and a ghost. And again, she's in shed, so her colors are definitely not true to what they normally are, but this girl is absolutely insane. So this crazy looking girl right here, this was actually produced by Rob Christian, and this was a skunk het ultra, or skunk line het ultra to a VPI super stripe, and she's got this, what we call the black trait, and it's something that Rob's been working on isolating, and we start just getting a bit more contrast, some extra speckles by the neck, and she's not really too thrilled about being out right now, but she's a stunning looking Borneo Short-Tail, and I'm so stoked to have been raising her up for a while, just watching her grow and develop. Lots of great color and contrast. I'm definitely really excited to be able to start to plug her in the near future. Just a spectacular looking short-tail python. Guys, so this is Mr. Seven Peppers over here, and we call him that because he has an attitude. I got him, he's actually a super stripe that I got directly from Dave and Tracy Barker over at VPI, and Tracy herself said that he was a 7 peppers level spicy snake, and that was very true, and still is very true actually. He has kind of gotten a little bit better as he's gotten older, but maybe 6 peppers now, not by much. But when I was walking by this enclosure all the time, he's just hitting the front of the tub. And of course, I don't want him to injure himself. Certainly don't want this plexi to break. So we just put a piece of paper over this and just taped it to hold it into place. This way he feels more secure. Another key husbandry point for these guys: back in the day when people were starting to keep bloods and short-tail pythons, of course, the reputation of them being a big, mean snake actually came from the fact that we weren't keeping them correctly. Of course, it's just kind of a go-to thought process that a Southeast Asian python is going to want to be hot and wet. And especially with a snake like this that can be found in swampier areas or wet, really dense areas, of course, we are going to go and think like, okay, I've got to make an enclosure that's really hot and really wet. And that's actually not good for the snake. It can cause issues like scale rot and fungal infections and all these different things. So what we've actually found out, these guys want to be in the lower to mid 80s. So I'll actually provide a hot spot of about 88 degrees. So after they've eaten, they can go sit back there, digest their meal, do everything they need to do. But the overall ambient temperature in this room sits about 80 degrees. With that hot spot, it pretty much gives you a regulation of between 83 to 88 degrees. You've got that 5-degree spot, which doesn't seem like much, but it actually really is enough. And then of course, with the deep substrate barrier, if they're sitting on top of the substrate versus in the substrate, there's a little bit more of a temperature buffer there as well. So being able to provide that for these snakes is really, really key. And again, you'll notice the behavior of the animal start to shift most of the time, because again, like Mr. Seven Peppers, he's just always ready to go. So guys, check this out. This is actually a baby Borneo Short-Tail Python. This guy's about 5 weeks old, and this came from that big super stripe girl that I was just showing off a second ago from Matt over at Philly Herp. And dad was Mr. Seven Peppers. This was a super stripe to super stripe pairing. This is a super stripe Borneo Short-Tail Python, but an absolutely spectacular snake. It's crazy. This little guy that fits in the palm of my hand is going to become one of these monster snakes. They've got a little bit of dad's attitude, which makes things kind of fun when it comes to cleaning day. And we're already starting to see some of these color changes as they've kind of gone through that first set of few meals. Interesting fact with blood and short-tail pythons, they actually take 90 days to go through their first shed. That's wild. So of course the tradition of wait a week, the baby snake sheds, then you offer it food, doesn't work for these guys. So I'll typically give them a week to 10 days after they've hatched to kind of get established, get kind of settled. Then I separate them out, and then I go to offer them their first meals. So these guys are already about 3 or 4 meals in, and we're just waiting on that first shed, but they're absolutely crushing food right now. They're doing fantastic. Okay guys, so I've talked about him a lot in the video. Let's take a look at Mr. Seven Peppers. He's probably gonna try to strike at the camera if I hold it like this. So I'm actually gonna just turn it around and get a little bit of a close-up so you can actually see him without him totally losing his mind. So I told you guys that I like the striped stuff a lot, and that's just kind of for all snakes, really. This particular snake, while it is a little stripy, is not technically genetically a stripe. This is actually a garble or a granite marble Borneo Short-Tail. This is another Rob Christian production, and this male is absolutely spectacular. Great color and contrast. Check out that head. This guy's absolutely wonderful. Another super chill snake. Actually doesn't mind being pet under the chin. I've spent a lot of time with this guy. I try to spend a lot of time with these guys because, again, they can be a nervous snake in general, and we want to make sure that they're as comfortable as possible. Okay guys, so this video is going to wrap up with a really special animal. This is actually a Mocha Granite Borneo Short-Tail Python. Mocha is one of 3 lines of T-positive albino, and of course we have it into the granite, so we get this cool belly look and everything. And as you can see, this is an absolutely spectacular looking snake. The color, the contrast, the overall look is really unique. Definitely not something you see every day, and I'm super excited to be able to have this animal here. This is arguably one of my favorite Borneo Short-Tail Pythons here, and he's here from my buddy Steven Tillis. It's really cool to be able to have this animal here and see how the colors have developed. This is a newer mutation with Borneo Short-Tail Pythons, so really understanding the depth of color, what you can expect to see as they age is all still really heavily into question. So I've been raising this guy up just to see what it's going to look like, and as he starts to mature, I have to say I'm blown away by how this animal looks. It's really exciting to be able to see something like this, a project that's still very much in its infancy. Just really cool snakes. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a little something new about Borneo Short-Tail Pythons. They're such a cool snake, definitely misunderstood and poorly represented in the hobby. I hope this may have sparked an interest for you. You go out and start checking out some of these amazing snakes. And again, guys, make sure you hit that subscription button and the notification bell. Hit that like button down below, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one.